Check, check one, check.
What I wish I knew about Putin's rise to power might surprise you. Let's dive in. Officially, Putin isn't a dictator according to Russia's constitution. The Russian constitution, established in 1993, outlines a democratic framework with checks and balances. However, the reality of Putin's rule diverges significantly from these principles. But his grip on power says otherwise. Over the years, Putin has consolidated power through a combination of legal reforms, political maneuvering, and strategic use of state resources. Here's how he did it. First, in 1999, Putin became prime minister, and by 2000, he was president. This rapid ascent was facilitated by then-President Boris Yeltsin, who saw in Putin a loyal successor capable of stabilizing the country. In 1999, Putin became prime minister, and by 2000, he was president. Yeltsin's resignation on December 31, 1999, paved the way for Putin to assume the presidency, marking the beginning of a new era in Russian politics. He promised stability following the chaotic 90s. The 1990s were a period of economic turmoil and political instability in Russia, with rampant inflation, widespread poverty, and a weakened state apparatus. Putin's promise of stability resonated with a populace weary of chaos. Next, he focused on consolidating his power by controlling the media. Media control was key. By controlling the narrative, Putin could shape public perception and stifle dissent. This was achieved through a combination of state ownership and influence over major media outlets. Independent outlets were shut down or taken over by Kremlin-friendly oligarchs. Journalists who dared to criticize the government faced harassment, intimidation, and even violence. This created an environment where self-censorship became the norm. In 2004, he abolished direct elections for regional governors, giving the Kremlin more control. This move centralized power in the hands of the federal government, reducing the autonomy of regional leaders and ensuring their loyalty to Putin. Then, he targeted his critics. Critics like Mikhail Khodorkovsky and Alexei Navalny were imprisoned or neutralized. Khodorkovsky, once Russia's richest man, was arrested in 2003 on charges of fraud and tax evasion, widely seen as politically motivated. Navalny, a prominent opposition leader, has faced multiple arrests and legal challenges. The judiciary became a tool to silence opposition. Courts were used to disqualify opposition candidates, impose harsh sentences on protesters, and legitimize the Kremlin's actions. This undermined the independence of the judiciary and eroded public trust in the legal system, followed by constitutional changes. These changes extended his terms in office, including a 2020 referendum allowing him to stay until 2036. The referendum, which included amendments to the constitution, reset Putin's term limits, effectively allowing him to remain in power for an additional 16 years. This move was widely criticized by opposition figures and international observers, who saw it as a blatant power grab. Putin's dominance was cemented through a combination of political alliances and propaganda. Putin built strong ties with oligarchs, and used propaganda to secure widespread support. Oligarchs who supported Putin were rewarded with lucrative contracts and political influence, while those who opposed him faced exile or imprisonment. Lastly, he used crises to strengthen his rule. Conflicts in Chechnya, Georgia, Ukraine, and Syria stoked nationalist sentiment and justified increased control. These conflicts allowed Putin to rally the nation around a common enemy, distract from domestic issues, and justify the expansion of state power. By presenting himself as a strong leader capable of defending Russia's interests, Putin bolstered his image and legitimacy. In summary, through legal, political, and military maneuvers, Putin has effectively become Russia's de facto authoritarian leader. His ability to adapt and respond to challenges has allowed him to maintain a firm grip on power for over 2 decades. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more insights.